Kirk Franklin on The Basement with Tim Ross. This is a podcast that Tim Ross had with Kirk Franklin. So I just need to say that Tim Ross, I used to love watching Tim Ross's podcast. But then remember the time when he started swearing in his podcast? So I'm like, okay, hell no, this is definitely not happening. I'm definitely not watching him again. But then he had a couple of people over that I'm very interested about. So I went to go check it out, and he had Kirk Franklin. And Kirk Franklin said a couple of things that I was like, okay. So he said a couple of guys, Kirk Franklin said, a couple of these new artists came to his studio one time and they were blown away by all the awards that he won. They were blown away by the longevity of Kirk Franklin and how long he's been in the industry and how long he's been successful doing what he does. Then they asked him the question, how do you get it right? How do you get it right year in, year out, to show up, to deliver these things, to keep on working hard? And he said this. He said, I'm too insecure to be forgotten. So I was like, what?
No way!
And he even backtracked and he said he knows it sounded a bit funny or whatever, but he just tried to be honest that he's too insecure to be forgotten. That's why he drives music, he drives the album sales, he drives the tours, he drives this. And it sounds a lot like him saying that they cannot forget that I'm one of the GOATs. They cannot forget that I'm so talented. They cannot forget that I'm so amazing because I'm Kirk Franklin. And they better know. Doesn't matter who comes up, I'm still the hardest working man in the room. And there's no problem. I mean, if this was a worldly system, there's no problem for somebody to say, listen, I'm too insecure to be forgotten. There's no problem. The reason I push, the reason I do what I do is because they cannot forget about me. But if we talk about the gospel, if we talk about Christianity as a whole, if you would have said, because God has called me and I have a race to run and I have a race to finish, and one day I want to see God and I want to take people with me to see Him, I think we would have had another story. I think we would have had another angle to this thing. But what are we driven by? The success of it? The money, the houses, the cars, the fame. He's saying, I'm too insecure to be forgotten. I mean, anybody wants to have a legacy and you want to have a history. But what pushes you, I think, is the fear of God. What pushes me is the fear of God. To say, if you end today, if you stop doing what you do, and you stop preaching the gospel, you stop reaching out to people, you stop helping people, you stop advising people, you stop counseling people, do you still have the fear of God in you? Like, after all this, we still have another life that we're going to enter into. The actual life, the spiritual life, and the life with God or the life without God. And here's my point. If that is Kirk's motivation for why there's longevity in his career, then I'm not 100% sure. I mean, you can say now, Isaiah, who are you to judge? I'm not judging. I'm just saying that he said it openly, and I'm gonna play the clip and so you guys can see. But I think as Christians we should be motivated for way more than just ourselves. And this constantly happens, especially when my wife asks me, why do you keep pushing on TikTok and why do you keep on doing these things? And sometimes you have to go back to the perspective, why are you doing these things? Is it to gain more followers? Is it to gain fame? Is it to, or is it really to help somebody and encourage somebody out there? Kirk Franklin has released amazing music, but I want to encourage him, and I want to encourage up and coming people that your reason for being, your reason for doing what you do, your reason for standing and preaching the gospel or making music is to glorify God, is to magnify God, is to live a life that's worthy of the call, is to live a life and to practice your skills and your gifts that God has given you to glorify His name. Because ultimately we are nothing without God. That's my 2 cents. If you have difference of opinion, let me know in the comment section. Let's talk about it. But yeah, have a good day. See you.